Hello and welcome to A VO's Journey. My name is Anthony Pica. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all of the crazy things that I seem to step on. It is Tuesday, July 21st. Holy moly. July is almost over. We are going into August, and I think it's definitely awkward because of many things, clearly, but school, is definitely one of those things during this time, and especially in August, where everybody's really getting ready, for that September push. And this year I don't even know, and as you look ahead, it's kind of even awkward about the holidays as well as Christmas. What is it all gonna be like this year? I don't know. 2020, what a wacky year. Go down in history books as a wacky year. So anyways, I wanted to come to you and talk to you today about something that's going on, another question in the Facebook group that I saw. And, it was kind of a question based on another post that was put out. And basically the idea behind the question, what I want to talk about today is, why am I not being found like other people are in Google or on Fiverr, for example, or in different sites? But I think this particular question was geared towards Fiverr. Why am I not being found when I do the same thing other people are doing? You know what I mean? When I actively work on my title and my description and my tags and all of these things, why is someone else having different results than me? Well, I tell you, I've coached a lot of people. I've coached a lot of voice actors. I've been fortunate to do that. And I do a lot with Fiverr. And I have to tell you, the 99.9% of the time, and I know this is probably not what a lot of people want to hear, but 99.9% of the time, most of it actually has to do with how long you've actually been working on Fiverr. And I will say that what I mean by that is, just like anything else, there are things that we can do and there are things that we can't do. So what I mean by that, or that we can't control up front. So what I mean by that is, when you're just starting out on a site like Fiverr or any other site, or even on Google, right? And you've got a website up, or you're on Fiverr, whatever. And, you do everything you can to optimize your work, which you're supposed to do. And you get the best advice, which is important. And you do these things and you're actively working on them. You are taking the steps that you need to take to move forward. But I remember back when I was first starting, everything that I did, and I worked so hard, I got a little bit forward. It was a little teeny step, and a little teeny step. But I wasn't seemingly making giant steps because I wasn't yet. I didn't have the business that people who have been doing this for a while have. I didn't have the social proof yet. I didn't have the machine, if you will, of, nature or gravity pulling me, because I had built this momentum for years to, become, more of a force to get more business and so forth. I know this, I'm sounding a little confusing myself, but I think what I'm trying to say is, I did a video before about patience. And of course I called it, the word nobody wants to talk about, but the reality is that when you are just starting out, or you're pushing really hard, and you need to, and that's a good thing. You have to push really hard for a long time before your train really gets going. Right? There's so much. Think about it. Think about a train, a rocket, anything that's starting, okay, has to exert the majority of the energy, an exuberant amount of energy at first, just to get going. Okay? And that energy that you exhaust, right, to get going, right? Once you're going, okay, your energy still has to be there, but not as much as when you first start. And I think a lot of people see that when they're first starting or they're first going, all that energy that they have to, give, and then they see very teeny results, right? They don't maybe not even see much of all, because the engine is just getting revved up, right? It's just starting to turn on, and they get very frustrated. They get very frustrated because they're just not seeing any results, yet they're doing all this work and putting all this energy into it. That's where it takes time. It takes time. And, I remember when I first started my podcast, I wanted to start my podcast because the idea is that I heard people like me, where I am now, talking to people like you, where maybe you are right now, saying that, hey, it's okay. It takes patience. You're going to get there. And I always thought to myself, it was easy. It's easy for them to say. They're already there. What is that? Where does that leave me? I remember that. That was a big reason why I started my podcast, A VO's Journey, because at that time, I hadn't made much of anything. I was really just starting out, and I noticed there wasn't much for people out there who were just starting, like how, who could you follow that knew what you were going through at that time? So I understand it might seem easy for me to say it to you, but I can tell you this, actually, and it's the truth. I work probably harder now than I did then. However, the work I do now is about it's more about maintaining the machine. Does that make sense? Maintaining the machine, making sure things keep going in the places they need to go. You know what I mean? Videos keep being put out, making sure that there's a podcast, making sure that all the voiceovers are done, making sure that all the contacts are contacted, making sure that, profiles are updated, making sure meetings and sessions go well, keeping up to date with, emails and all of the things that you have to do to maintain. What you'll find is it actually is a lot more work, but it's a different type of work. So, because when you're starting out, all you're trying to do is to get that engine going, to get that rocket off the ground, so that you actually start gaining altitude and getting work. But once the work starts coming, and it will. All right. It will start coming. Your job then is to keep pushing. You got to keep going. All right. And it will build up, but then you've got to work, you got to work just as much, just differently. All right. So it's not as much energy up front to get it going, but it's more focused energy. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's really, that's the nut and bolts from a philosophical standpoint, if you will. But, in the group, I saw this question, I'm trying so hard. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. I can't seem to get traction or get in the front of Fiverr like other people are, even though I'm doing everything that everyone else is doing or I'm being told to do. And I wanted to address that. And the other part to it is also repeat business. You have to think that, on any website and Google as well, there is the intangible part to an algorithm or a way you are ranked based on the amount of traffic you get, the amount of purchases you get. Okay. And places like Fiverr or Google or wherever you are, they reward you for traffic. They reward you for purchases. They reward you for these things because in their mind, right, they see that this person has some sort of pull. Something is happening with them, and they want to then rise. They want to help you rise to the top, because they see that you are popular and whatever you're doing, right? And that will tell them that, hey, listen, this person is popular, so we should move them to the front, okay? Because people like what they're doing, okay? It's like the chicken and the egg. Which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? You've got to build it before they come, but then they need to come before you can build it. So it's like it's this push and pull. So the factor here, same with the chicken and the egg, is time. Time is the factor that we overlook, that we don't want to talk about, or we do want to talk about, but we don't know how much time to expect to go by before something happens that we want to happen more than what's happening at this moment. Time is the fuel that we have to keep putting in as well. Okay. So if you have repeat business, business that keeps coming in, traffic that keeps coming in, all right, it's going to grow. And when you add a new person or a new company to that business, you add more traffic to your site, right? You had more purchases, you had more saves, right? You have more retweets, you got more, whatever you're trying to do, okay? You have a following, whether it's people purchasing from you, watching your content, whatever. That following grows slowly, but it grows, all right? And as it grows, all right, that's the momentum I was talking about. The more layers, the more it grows, right? Excuse me, I hit my microphone. The more, hit it again. The more it grows, right? The more you're going to get out of it. But it's only going to do that. You're only going to see a massive, mountain, right? One step at a time. And those one steps at a time, sometimes we can't even see. Because a lot of those changes are actually us. A lot of the changes that are happening are the way we work, the way we perform, the way we market ourselves, the way we spend our time. Those are changes that happen that we don't even necessarily recognize at first. But then more clients come, one after another, one after another, one after another, and time goes by, and all of a sudden you realize that you're getting all this repeat business. And because you're getting repeat business, okay, it's boosting you up higher in the rankings so that now you're starting to get more new business because you've proven yourself, and there's repeat business as a layer, as like a rock, as a base. Okay, but until you build that base, it takes time. It takes a lot of energy to build that base. But it's crazy because once you build that base over time, and listen, this could take, I remember when I first started, it was my first year, literally my first year on Fiverr, I made like $800 total. It's my first year. You know what I mean? My first year on Fiverr. Now, you know what I mean? That's funny to me at that, it's funny to me because if you break that down, that's like, $75 a month or something. You know what I mean? I mean, that's one job that's like, like 1/6 or 1/7 of what I make a day on Fiverr now. But at the time, that was all I was making a month. And, you look, and that's only a span of like 3.5 years. Okay. But when you were looking back at that time when you were just starting and where you are now, all right, 3.5 years from when you were starting looks like a long time away. But 3.5 years, and I'm just using my number of 3.5 years from where I am now, looking back, I think, that wasn't that long. It's the perspective of everything, right? So that's the crazy thing. So just know that and I actually posted something a long time ago. I think this was in another group. I don't even know what had happened, but the idea was, would you, check this out. This is a pretty cool exercise, I think. Would you, if you knew 1 year from now that you would make, $100,000, okay? If you send out, I'll just use this example. If you sent out 100 emails a day for 1 year, and you were guaranteed at the end of that year, you would make $100,000. Would you do it? Well, the answer would be, yeah, absolutely, I would do it. Okay, did I say 100 emails a day? Let's do 100 emails a week. So let's say you send out, because 100 emails a day would be pretty hard, although you could figure that out. So let's say we'll do 200. So let's say you did 200 emails a week. All right, so you knew that each month you needed to send out 800 emails. Okay, and at the end of that year, if you sent out 800 emails a month, you would make $100,000. Would you do it? Absolutely, we would. Of course, we would do it. All right, we knew we were going to make that. However, if I change that around and I told you, if you send out 800 emails a month, okay, and at the end of the year, there is a possibility that you would make $100,000, would you do it? And if you haven't seen, if you think in your mind for a second, you think, would I do that? Right? It changes. it changes your perspective in a second. Because when we think that we know it's going to happen, all of a sudden we're willing to climb the highest mountain. And you can insert anything in there. Try this activity. All right? You can insert anything in there. Okay? Here's another perfect example. If for a year I told you on Fiverr, okay, if you did 100, let's say you did 100 jobs a month on Fiverr for $5. Okay? And I told you at the end of the year, okay, moving forward, you would then make $100,000 a year on Fiverr. All right? Just on Fiverr. Would you do it? Would you do 1,200 jobs for $5 a piece? If you knew at the end of that year you were going to make $100,000 moving forward on that platform a year. I mean, yeah, I would. Okay? There's a clear understanding that if I do X, I get Y. Okay? However, if I said to you, again, if you do a year's worth, 1,200 voiceovers, right, for $5, 100 a month at $5, at the end of the year, you have a possibility of making $100,000. You could make less. You could make nowhere near that. You could even make more, but it's a possibility. There's no guarantee. Would you do it? This is the basis of the question that we ask ourselves, and that causes us the greatest problems. Because when we don't have a guarantee in our mind or anywhere else, we falter on the activity. Because we think that, well, you know what? There's a possibility this won't happen. It's a possibility I won't be successful. Look at this person over here. They're complaining that they're not successful. They've been doing it for years. Oh no, look at this person. They got banned from over here. Look at this person. They've got a really bad customer who keeps, going after them. Look at this person. They've had to cancel stuff. It's not going to work. Look at this person. Look at that person. Like, all of this doubt comes into our minds. Okay? And it all gets clouded, all right, with the possibility. But again, it's possible. Remember what I told you a while back, multiple videos, is about what we focus on. What you focus on is the most important thing. Do you focus on the possibility it won't happen? Or are you focusing on the possibility it will happen? And it's just an interesting exercise because, when you talk to people who have been successful, who are successful, and you go back and they say, hey, if you do X, Y, Z, you will be successful. This is what I did. I've proven it. I've seen other people do it. And if you do it, it will happen. Okay? It won't be on your timeline, but it will happen. But then you have people who haven't done it yet. And there's always that lingering question because you don't know until you've completed it, until you've finished or you've had that success you're looking for, you don't know if it's possible. So it's a possibility. It's not an actual fact yet. And it's hard for us, I think, as humans to justify, putting in, it's faith, putting in so much effort with the hope that something could happen. I mean, that is, that you talk about faith. That's a challenge. All right. But I can tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, you can do that and it really does work. It works because I've proven it works. Now, it doesn't mean that your journey will be completely like mine. It doesn't mean you'll take the same path as my journey. But the reality is if you decide that you are going to make it, if you are going to complete the goals that you want, you will make it. You will make it. Your job is to keep going until everyone else realizes it. That's your job. Your job is to keep pushing hard, keep doing everything you can do until everyone else catches up with you. And then when everyone else catches up with you, you've got what you want. But it takes time. All right. I know I'm on my pedestal. I will get off of it. I hope this has helped. I hope. Sometimes it takes a hard look at what we're doing, but also a hard look at how long we've been doing something, what's realistic, but not necessarily what's realistic, but, what are we trying to accomplish? Are we trying to accomplish a quick fix? Or are we trying to accomplish something that is going to last? Something that lasts, something that's worthwhile, something that is built strong, okay? It takes time. It takes time. But I'm living proof you can do it, and you can accomplish some incredible things in a relatively short period of time. Okay? You know my story, but I've built a 6-figure business through voiceover, through coaching, through helping people edit their audio, through demos, through writing, through all sorts of things, through Fiverr, through Voice Realm, through People Per Hour, through Voquid, through Voice Jungle, through even though I don't kill it on voices.com or Voice123, they've played an integral role of people finding me through my website, through YouTube, through Instagram, through Twitter, through Facebook, right? Through even TikTok, even all of these different places. Okay, they all have added up. But it's taken 3.5 years of a lot of effort. And you can do it too. I promise you can do it. All right. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Hit that like, subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And stay safe. Bye-bye.